so 100 and almost 25 years of experience, and it was established here in Rioja. It's a family-owned company since then. The Carlos and Pilar, the two owners, 50% each, are the fourth generation, but even the fifth generation is working in the company. Pilar son and Pilar daughter, they both work in the company, so they will be the next generation, and hopefully there will be at least 5 more to come. But this is to say that this is still 100% family owned. Obviously, they have developed the business a lot. We started here, it was the grandparents of the current owners. They were initially vineyard holders, they were growers, and this is very important now because we have developed our business, but always with one common thing, which is being able to produce state wines. We always have our own vineyards, and most of the time single vineyards. The business has grown. We were originally from here, from Rioja, but right now the group of wineries has grown. We have got 5 different wineries in our group. 2 of them in Rioja, 1 in the district of Rueda, 1 in La Mancha, and another 1 producing country wines, the entry-level wines. Being, I insist, our main asset, the vineyards. And I'll give you some facts because it's important to know what we are talking about in comparing with the American standards. In Spain is the 3rd largest producing country in the world in terms of wine, but we are the country number 1 in terms of vineyards. We have more vineyards than any other country in the world. And just one appellation like would be La Mancha. La Mancha is the biggest DO in the world. If you add the vineyards for producing the DO wines plus the country wines plus the table wine, ends up to, well, over 600,000 hectares. That means that in only one district of vineyards in Spain, we have more vineyards than in Chile and Australia altogether, in both countries. So Spain really deserves a better position in the market. We are in a big country in terms of vineyards. We can produce high quality, and we can sell that because we have wineries in different DOs, and we can produce completely different wines, but very high quality wines. So we have, as I was saying, 5 different vineyards, 5 different wineries, 2 of them in Rioja, 1 in La Mancha, 1 in Rueda, and 1 producing country wines. Just to give you a small summary, Winebow is the importer of mainly 3 of our wineries, the 2 of the Rioja houses, plus Finca Antigua in the DO La Mancha in the southeast of Spain. We also have another company producing country wines, more entry level. We understand that quality has to be at every price point, and it is sometimes more difficult, of course, to make a good quality out of a cheap bottle of wine rather than an expensive bottle of wine, because obviously you have more tools to play with. But Winebow is starting also to have some opportunities and doing some business with our entry-level wines, so we are very thankful for that and looking forward to improve our business. So basically what we are going to taste today, the visit is going to be only this winery, which very much represents the style of wineries that we have in the whole group. Very different to each other, but always a vineyard and the winery in the middle. But due to the tight schedule you've got, we are going to focus on the visit in this winery, but I'm sure it will give you an example of like the others are. But we will taste during the tasting the whole range of our wines in Winebow's portfolio. So we are going to taste Bujanda wines, we are going to taste Finca Valpiedra wines, and we are going to taste Finca Antigua wines. Well, as I told you, I'm going to give you some figures because I'm talking about single vineyards, I'm talking about state wines, but probably for you to be landowners or to be 100% self-supplier, to have our vineyards to be supplied, it's not normal in Spain, and especially in Rioja. Just to give you a reference, after La Mancha, Rioja is the 2nd largest district in Spain, and we are talking about 66,000 hectares. So it's a big country, or a big land. It's the 2nd largest after La Mancha. It's the most prestigious in quality and well-known. But well, just the 16% of the surface of vineyards belong to the winery. So most of the producers, they have to buy either grapes or wines to age produce and sell the wines. We understand that clearly quality starts from the vineyard, and it's not the same what you look for if you are looking or growing grapes to sell them to get more money. The more kilos that you get, the more money you get, than checking the quality for producing good quality. So quality starts in the vineyard. At the end, we are going to visit the vineyard, we are going to visit the wine and everything, but I think the winery is something that you can copy. You can make exactly the same winery in China, in the States, in Russia, or whatever. It's just a matter of the investment that you have done, your personal preferences, taste, and the architect or the engineer. But what is unique is the site, is the vineyard. And this is something that nobody can copy. So that's what gives character to our wines in all the different locations. Why we have two different wineries in Rioja, maybe is the first question that I could have. It's because where we are right now, here in Rioja, is not typical. Finca Valpiedra is a single vineyard estate. I was saying that only 16% of the vineyards are owned by wineries, so most of the owners are either cooperatives or families or small growers that sell the grapes to others. We control. It's not. I always talk about two different kinds of enology: the active and the passive. Passive enology to me is that one very good winemaker take the grapes and do the best he can of those grapes. But the active enology is to get already those grapes you are taking, what you have done beforehand in the vineyard, controlling the pruning, the yield, the yields per hectare, the yields per hectare, reducing, doing green harvesting, and reducing the kilograms in order to get more concentration. So by the time the others start to control quality, we have taken lots of different decisions because we work a lot in the vineyard. And for us, the most important thing is the vineyard and the quality of the grapes that we get. Then we try to treat the grapes the less as possible in order to offer the quality or the style of wines that is given by Mother Nature. So in this particular vineyard, 80 hectare estate, it's approximately, to make you calculations easier, 1 hectare is about 4 acres. So it's about 400 acres, this estate. It's divided in 3 platforms, 3 terraces. You have seen the main one right there, from the main gate to the winery. We have 64 hectares altogether. We have right there the second terrace of 14 hectares. And there is even a third terrace on the other side of the range of trees, which is the third terrace with 4 more hectares. Makes a total of 80 hectares. And here we have the winery in the middle of the vineyard, only for producing these particular wines. And I'll go back to the styles but what I wanted to say is that, well, this is a chateau-like bodega. It's the pure concept of a chateau, but applied to Rioja. And this is unusual because the average parcel in Rioja of a vineyard is less than 1 hectare. So not many people can do a single vineyard because there are mini parcels, mini plots. So we have 80 hectares where we can do a single vineyard wine from it. So the vines are 40 years old already, even exceptional quality, and mainly Tempranillo grapes, that's a lizard. So we can do a single vineyard that many other people, or most of the people, cannot do it because of the size and because of the plots and because they don't own the plots. So there is a few, and I can count with the fingers of one of my hands, wineries that can produce really single vineyards. As a matter of fact, this particular vineyard, Finca Valpiedra, is the only Rioja house which belongs to the Association of Great Single Vineyards of Spain. The equivalent to Grand Cru Clase in Spain is called Grandes Pagos de España. It's an association of only 25 vineyards, 25 wineries that promote this concept of single vineyard quality and the winery in the middle of the vineyard to produce exclusively the grapes grown in this particular vineyard. And Finca Valpiedra is the only one. So Finca Valpiedra, to summarize, doesn't compete with other Rioja wines because they are not. We are single vineyards and the others are not. We don't have the whole range of wines, including Joven, Crianza, Reserva, Gran Reserva. We only produce 2 wines of this vineyard. So we don't compete in volume because the volumes are reduced to the yields of this parcel, and we are working half the average of the yields in Rioja. we are talking about, it doesn't compete in volume, it doesn't compete in style because it's very much unique, the characteristic of this particular vineyard, and nor in price because we are a little bit above the price of Rioja houses, because, well, don't forget, at the end we are talking about 80 hectares in the middle of 66,000, so we are a drop in the ocean, we are very little. But having said that, there is, and you know it well, a market and there is a demand of more classic wines and more classic Rioja style wines in terms of volume, categories and pricing. So on top of this vineyard we have 120 hectares more divided in 10 different plots. So we have a completely different bodega in another village called Bujanda at 30 kilometers away from here, where we produce these wines called Vina Bujanda from these 10 different plots. Not single vineyard, but 100% family owned, the vineyards owned by us and produced for being more competitive. Actually, what we are giving in Vina Bujanda is what we consider that the market is demanding right now, is value. We have the vineyards, all with the grape varietals that goes well here, and we are using the same winemaker. We have perfect facilities, stainless steel, air conditioning, everything, but we are giving the top of the quality, but at the bottom of the price, to offer value in our wines. So we have two completely different wineries in Rioja, one for selling premium boutique wines and other one for selling more volumes, more wines to compete with other Riojas at a competitive price, but always competitive price but a maximum quality, representing the best value probably of the market.
And
so,
how rare is it to have estate vines in Rioja?
It's what I said before. There are like maybe 4 or 5 other people doing a single vineyard estate, a single vineyard wine.
Right, but so for Vina Bujanda, for example,
Vina Bujanda is not a single vineyard.
Right, but even that is rare. That it's all.
It's rare because it's always the grapes come from our own parcels, even though they are not one. It's 10 different plots, making a total of 120 hectares. But the grapes come from always the same parcels, and they are being kept by us. So we control the same thing here: the harvesting, the pruning, the yields per hectare, everything.
Right, so almost all of our competition is doing negociant style production.
Most of the competition, they have to buy grapes, and when you buy grapes, you don't control the quality, but you don't control neither the origin of the grapes. So you cannot offer the consistency in the quality that we offer, because, well, there could be small differences between one year and one vintage and the other. But of course, it's much easier to offer consistency always if the grapes come from the same vineyard, because at the end the vineyard gives character to the wine.
Right.
In fact, and I don't want to be, you are professionals in the wine business, and I don't like to tell you about terroir, but terroir turns to me about 3 different pillars. One is the grape varietal, the other one is the soil, and the other one is the climate. In this particular vineyard, those 3 things are completely different. We have the soil, which is completely different. I mean, Finca Valpiedra in Spanish, rock valley estate. Finca means estate. Piedra, stone or rock, and Val, valley. So stone valley estate, rock valley estate. Why is that? Because in Rioja normally the regular soil is more red, it's more clay. Here you will see now we have a layer of alluvial stone. That means that in the Cretacic time, in the ancient times, this vineyard, this particular land was underwater, underneath the water. So we have lots of alluvial stones, rolling stones, with layer, which gives good drain to the water, reflects the light, reduce the yields per hectare. So, and that's unique to this particular parcel, because if you travel around this area and not move a lot, it's more clay and more red, and it's completely different. So the soil is different. I said the grape varietal. Basically, we work here with Tempranillo and a little bit of 2 others, but always indigenous grapes to this place. We have almost everything is Tempranillo, and there is a reason for that, because Tempranillo, temprano in Spanish means soon, early. So it's called little early or little soon. Why is that? Because this grape varietal has a shorter ripening cycle. So normally we have a shorter ripening cycle, and we need to harvest in advance than other grape varietals, because finish earlier. It has shorter ripening cycle, and it gets ripe sooner than others. That's the reason of the name. So that particular grape varietal goes very well here with this soil and with the climate, because even the climate is completely different. We're at the very north. You know, Rioja is divided into 3 sub-regions. We have Rioja Alta, the high Rioja, Rioja Baja, which is the low Rioja, sorry about that, and we have Rioja Alavesa. The natural border, all Rioja, as I was saying yesterday, goes along the Ebro River, the valley of the Ebro River. The Ebro River is this one, and comes from that's north. So that comes from the northwest of Spain, from the Picos de Europa, is a range of mountains parallel to the Cantabrian Sea, but a little bit shorter, and it goes down to Catalonia, to Tarragona, where it goes to the Mediterranean Sea. So it's the longest and biggest river in Spain. So Rioja goes all along the river, and as a matter of fact, is the natural border between the Rioja Alta and Rioja Alavesa. So we are in the very north of Rioja Alta. At the other side of that vineyard there is already Rioja Alavesa. So we are in the very north of Rioja Alta, between the villages of Cenicero, which is there, and Fuenmayor, which is there. We are probably in the best spot of vineyards in the whole Rioja. But we have a microclimate given by several things. We have the Cantabrian range of mountains, which protects a lot from the cool winds from the north. Sometimes you are here enjoying beautiful weather, and you have all the clouds just stuck there, and you can see on the other side of the mountains it's raining cats and dogs. It's amazing. And
Diego, how far are we right now from the
Cantabrian
Cantabrian Mountains?
mountains, so those there could be 20 kilometers, less than that.
Okay.
And on the south we have still some snow, you can see it. That's the Sierra de la Demanda. There is even a ski resort there. So many towns and cities surrounding this area are much more extreme in temperature. I mean, by rainfall, average temperatures, and so on, we are enjoying right here Mediterranean climate. While if you go to Vitoria, Pamplona, Burgos, many other cities surrounding, they are much more continental because of the altitude, because here we are down at the valley of the Ebro River and protected by these 2 ranges of mountains. We enjoy much milder temperature than other cities or towns surrounding the area. So we enjoy completely microclimate, which is different from others. And also it's very important, the river, because of the humidity and because of the air. You can notice that always here there is a breeze, because the mass of water just running moves the air, and there is always breeze here. And this is incredibly interesting in order to avoid any risk of frost, because if you have breeze, there is no frost, so we don't have the risk of frost. The climate, together with that particular soil, this particular climate, and this particular Tempranillo grape, which goes very well here, makes the combination of the terroir, which is what we are offering here. And that's because, or the reason why these wines are so unique and so different to others, for the good or for the bad. But these are completely unique wines and reflecting terroir.
Take a picture of the group.
Sure.
Can you tell us about